Okay, we are live now. Let's wait a few minutes for people to join. All right. So, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Jose Carlo Burga. I'm the chair of the board of directors of the Peruvian Business Council. Today we are here with Roberto Persivale. Thank you, Roberto, for your commitment and for being here today. Roberto is a co-founder of Asesorandes. Asesorandes is a boutique consulting firm specialized in financing. He is member of a series of board of directors in Peru, and but the reason we are here is because Roberto has become a reference in sustainable development investing, and today he's going to talk to us about the environmental factor in investments in Peru. And we are here to listen from Roberto about the experiences and opportunities in environmental development in Peru. Roberto, muchas gracias. Welcome. The
Thank
floor.
you. We start. Thank you, Jose Carlo, for inviting me over. I tried to bring a couple of experiences we have been involved in that looks at the environmental factor from an investment opportunity more than a negative condition. That will be for a different talk. This couple of projects that I'm bringing to your attention today, we worked in with the World Resource Institute based in Washington, D.C. The first one, we had the Swiss cooperation as part of it, and it's a spin-off of the Land Accelerator, which is now working with one of my partners from Fletch, Booney Levis, out of Seattle. He goes back and forth to Africa and runs a Land Accelerator in Africa. I haven't gone there yet, but I had the opportunity to be a mentor there, as well as the Southeast Asia one, but never going there, which is an interesting opportunity later. But we have the opportunity here to be a mentor in the Ecuador one, and we created or developed that Peruvian land accelerator spin-off. And then also in parallel, we work with the best breed of startups or companies that are focused in this type of project of land accelerator, which is landscape conservation and productive agribusiness from a sustainable point of view, right? So maybe you want to go for the next slide, Jose Carlos. Okay, here basically the objective was to put together at the end of the process, which took almost 4 months, to put together a, a group of investment impact investment funds that are mission driven. Maybe you're familiar with some of them or not, but you have them there. Like 123, Altilia, Ecosphere, Ejido Verde, Fondo Acción, Permian Global, Pomeroon, Terra, Urapi, just to name a few. So the idea here is to have these fund managers and participate with that are interested in this type of project, that are a part of the alliance called 2020 Initiative, which now is 3030, 30 million hectares by 2030 to conserve and have sustainable development. So basically put together projects that are properly selected. Maybe you want to go to the next slide. We had a selection process. We invited over around 120 projects with partners that we have around Peru. Out of them, we went through a process for selection, and at the end, we started, as you see, the green one, where it says the Land Accelerator. We had a portfolio of opportunities of 24 of them. Well, we're showing some of them here in the right on the right side of the slide. It will be ecotourism, like Explorandes and rainforest expeditions that work in Madre de Dios and Cusco. Some of them were for ecological restoration, like Agropex, Alto Marañón, productive restoration in areas in Cusco. Also ACA, which is an NGO, they are doing ecological restoration between Cusco and Madre de Dios region. We also chose some of the bamboo developments that are all over the forest, in Junín, Huánuco as well, Aceitera del Paraíso, which is a sustainable cooperative working with palm oil on a stable basis. We also work with Raúl at ONG Mungi. Raúl is an entrepreneur here in Peru who we've known for some time. And basically, we put together these teams under a 11-week program that you're going to see in the next slide, which the final demo day, each one of these entrepreneurs presented their project or their startup or their company, depending on the stage it is. All of them were vetted and chosen and properly trained in all these kind of tools, not only business model agroforestry, but startups tools like lean startup, agile methodologies, how to have business metrics, how to design your one pager, your fact sheet design. And basically the half of this had to do with sitting down with partners of the initiative in agroforestry that sat down with entrepreneurs and the leaders, business leaders, with experts in agroforestry. We also had some of the members of the funds to sit down and do reverse pitching with the projects so that they can polish their presentations, their business models, and their different parts of marketing, all of them. Then we train them in storytelling and doing the right pitch. We also have some digital innovation technology advisors and experts. So by the end of these 11 weeks, we stepped out with a demo day. All of them were done in a virtual way, and we had questions and askings, Q&A from all the fund managers that were interested in this project. We also have, if you can put there's a link there where it's a World Resource Institute, the yellow one. You can you try to see if we can look at the webpage? Is that possible, Jose Carlos? You can put the link there. You can touch World Resource Institute in the middle, at the bottom part.
Let me try.
Yeah. If we can get through that link, you're going to see every single project posted in the webpage of World Resource Institute. You're going to see the variety of projects. You can also contact the project developer or the entrepreneur or the teams, and they'll be happy to speak to any of you or have introductions. But all of them have been vetted and selected that have a positive impact on our basically territory in Peru, most of in the eastern part, right? So that's it. No? You can put land accelerator. Okay. Well, you'll have we will send you the link. Maybe you can put the link, and you can just look at the World Resource Institute link. The other project we did and participated afterwards was a very interesting project in the sense that we sat together with the Ministry of Environment. Yeah, that's a webpage with the projects. We sat together with the Ministry of Environment. Those are the projects. You have a showcase of the projects there. Take a look at them. Especially there's one where it shows the Land Accelerator Peru. But the webpage, you'll be able to find each one of them. And contact them if you have any interest.
So basically, these are all the projects that are being worked with the World Resources Institute?
Exactly. You will see projects from the Peru, also Ecuador, if you want to look at other countries, but basically you'll find the Peruvian ones, and also we have Land Accelerator version for Latin America, where we had a representative of each country, who chose the best of the project of each one of them, and yeah, that's pretty much what we do at the Land Accelerator.
This is awesome. This is really, really interesting. And these are all the partners.
Yes,
Ecosystem Restoration, Restore Our Future, Initiative 2020, and CATI, AFR 100. I don't know what.
we also have at other we can use one of the there's around $100 million of in grants for afforestation and reforestation around the world, and some of our entrepreneurs access in Peru and in Colombia, where I had a chance to go as well and train the entrepreneurs. They had a chance to get some funding for restoration from donors.
So we have here that this in the first cohort of this initiative has been covered in Brazil, Chile, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay.
Exactly.
Nice. Let's go back to the.
Yeah. The other project is very interesting because what we're going to look at here is we're going to go deep into the same problem. How do we have degraded land around mostly forestry and water sources around the rural areas? And what we're doing here is we're studying how to use private funding through obras por impuesto. What is obras por impuesto? Is the income tax that a big company has, like a mining company in Peru or a big bank in Peru. They can take some of the public projects that have been already been vetted by the Ministry of Economy, and it's already in the municipality, if it's a local government or regional government or certain central ministries or public. So this is more like a public-private partnership. And what we did is, maybe we want to go to the next slide. What we did is we looked at different public investment already projects that were in place, that such as the ones you're looking at here, that have really bad environmental gaps, that the government through their different ministries or regional governments were working on. And so maybe you want to go to the next slide. We went to the database of these PIPs, Proyectos. Yeah, that's all over Peru. We identified a lot of public investments from 1 million soles to a few 100 million soles, divided by 4. If you want to have a quick idea of the type of investment. And basically, we went to the database of the Ministerio de Economía, of all these public opportunities projects, and then we sat down with them and see if they were interested in having a private sector developer do it on their behalf, and then transfer through the certificates that as you are spending that 100 million or 1 million, the private sector presents to the in their tax every 3 months, or if it's a 1-year project or 2-year project or less, they present their advance of the project, but they have to sit together with the main interest in the project, which is the regional government in place, right? So maybe you want to go to the next slide, please. Yeah, those are pretty much, it was a technical assistance to validate the portfolio of these public investments in restoration, conservation, and natural infrastructure, right? And the objective is to coordinate and speak to the subnational governments. We had lots of meetings with them, how these can be used by the Ministry of Environment. We sat down with the right people in the Ministry of Environment so that Peru can use it under their NDCs, right? These goals at the NDCs have potential to have benefits for the government per se, central government. And at the end, we go to the next slide. You're going to see the process, how we used mapping high data and putting some machine learning with one of our partners until we ended up with somewhere around 2,000 projects. Then we brought it back to 100, brought it down to 100. And then we started analyzing those 100 projects in more detail until we chose the ones that the authority was interested in doing by this mechanism that is a public-private partnership that hands over the project development to the private sector. In the private sector, uses as a stakeholder enhancement as part of their program that they have. And we try to show them that not only their schools or other type of public investments, but they can also tackle environmental projects that are already in the hands of the local authorities. You want to go to the next? Those are the regions. You have 8 projects in the Gobierno Regional, the Gobierno Local in Cusco. In Loreto, there were 6 projects. In the Gobierno Local and Gobierno Regional in Junín, we found and spoke to the leaders there. Tumbes, we chose 1. Ucayali, Huancavelica, Purima, Ganga. So we pretty much selected these public investment opportunities and brought them back. We can go to the next slide, to Aloxi through the help of Proinversión. Aloxi is the association or the alliance of Obras por Impuesto, which is this mechanism of public-private partnership where you have private sector looking at different type of projects. And Aloxi, what it does with the help of Proinversión, matches the interest of the stakeholder investment that the private company is interested in, and on the other hand, the public owner of the project. This is a very interesting mechanism, and we try to work on projects that have to do with land restoration and not necessarily productive, which many times the mayor or the governor wants because he gets a little more votes than usual. But we looked at the projects that were more about rescuing the landscape in these areas. We have a list of the projects here. We can take a look, further look. Loreto, some of our developing technical capacities of the beneficiaries. You can see the map here, minus Loreto. And all of these were showcased to we can keep going down, please. We show them as interesting projects for the private sector to invest in. We have hybrid program there, ecosystem services, 2 of them in Cajamarca as well as in other areas in Cajamarca. You can see the size of the investments, the time of execution. We brought these projects for the attention of the private sector to invest in them. and different target investments. $60 million, which is a little more than $4 million here, and the next project in Apurímac, Tumbes, and so forth. So I just wanted to bring to your attention a couple of projects we've been involved with the World Resource Institute that look at the environmental factor in investment in Peru from a different perspective, from the opportunity there is as a local investor through this private-public partnership in these different areas, and on the other hand, the entrepreneurs working in also these areas. So what we did at the end, we mapped everything, and the next step is how can we make entrepreneurs also be the developers of these projects as well. So this is the kind of work we do here when we bring partners like World Resource Institute and working together with the public sector as well as the private sector, or projects that are mainly just private sector with funds around the world that are looking for sustainable agriculture and restoration of land around around the world, in this case, Peru. Thank you, Jose Carlos. I think I'm done.
Thank you, Roberto. And I'm gonna take the opportunity to say something that I was telling you in person before the meeting. It is an honor. Like, let me use that word to have you here. We met over 13 years ago, and we have seen each other here and there, and now, but more or less 2 or 3 years ago, I contacted you again, and I told you where I was, what I was doing, what I'm trying to do, and ever since I've been just in the back of the head, I have to do something with Roberto, and here we are, and I'm happy that
Thank
we're
you.
doing this. We started this series of video conferences with Carlos Linares, as you probably know. We followed with Pablo Secada, and now you and I'm. The next event is about the digital gap in Peru. I want to, and I'm trying to close with a good speaker for that one. And then we're gonna start working on international speakers. We're gonna have international speakers. We're starting with local Peruvians, showing us what is happening in Peru. And your presentation is right on the spot. Right where it should be. I'm gonna take the opportunity and present the first question, which is. Uh, we didn't touch the matter of the conditions, but your presentation says it all. Like from my perspective, it is difficult for what I understand, and there is a lot of resistance still to talk about environmental development, because environmental development for many is considered sort of a daunting, scary space where I, as a businessman, I'm gonna get in and I'm gonna be subject to a series of limitations, and it's not what I want. But people don't understand that we are in a world right now that has completely changed, and where environment has become a priority, and therefore we are forced to think in environment as a source of opportunities, not only as a source of limitations. Uh, in your opinion, where is Peru in terms of conditions for environmental development? Uh, and just, I don't want to get into from my perspective, I'm not into the discussion, in the ideological discussion of environmentalism, whatever it is, like, but we need to know more or less where Peru is. If you can compare it with the region also, where Peru is in terms of environmental development. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the question is, where is Peru in terms of
Yeah.
environmental development conditions. A little bit about the regulatory thing, a little bit
Yeah.
about, in general
Peru,
terms.
as you probably know, Peru has uh, maybe is one of the last three ministries or four that we created was the environmental ministry. So we don't have decades of having uh, somebody sitting next to the executive, as well as maybe also as well as the legislative and so forth. So I would say that Peru has advanced a lot in this particular area. You will find a lot of professionals that are have been working in the with very good qualifications working at Ministry of Environment. Of course, it depends a little bit also on the we can get into things like now we have a government that is not optimal, but still many of the people around it are working in the ministry or they're working at some NGOs or some patrimonios that are around that. And there's some very shrewd guys working on how to have financial schemes that we can make this an opportunity instead of a cost, right? And that's I think from the legal or from the government or from the public sector. Now, from the private sector, if you talk about the large corporations, companies, of course, some of the mining companies are thought, most of them, at least the large ones, are top of the line in environmental security, and they work with all the strategies, uh, but they lack a vision, I think, to work with the communities. Um, and I would say that a CEO of a mining company should have a lot of interest in learning about anthropology, and you only find one out of 100 of them. And if you want to be in mining and you don't know anything about anthropology, you should quickly start reading and get that skill because that's the name of the game. Talking to the communities in the area, and they don't do it. So they hire lower ranking people who are very interesting. They bring a lot but it's not in their board meetings. They just work on these environmental projects to do showcasing or to do some marketing, but they don't. It's not part of their vein. So for me, people who are doing projects that are in their vein, solving the communities and making money, that's the name of the game. And I think Peru is having more and more entrepreneurs interested in solving these problems. You also have the big, right now, Peru is a big name in export of fruits, vegetables. Asparagus was the first one, right? I started 30 something years ago. And now we're top 10 in the world. If you put the other cacao and the coffee and the bananas, organic, we're top 10, if not top three. So I think that the great, we're in the level field where you will find cooperatives that are getting ROS certification, which is regenerative or a certification of regenerative agriculture. And that's the future. And that's going to be the future for the large companies, but they need to connect with the small companies. They need to be the tractors. They need to bring and have in their as much as they grow fruit or they grow a vegetable, they should integrate the cooperatives around them. And also, and the Ministry of Economy has given some incentives. It has a new way that I call a new type of cooperatives, which is 3 years old. It has a lot of incentives, fiscal and easiness of working around. But basically, as a cooperative, one man, one vote. You don't vote with your wallet. You vote the same all of you, and that's a model that some people are interested. If you have the private sector being part of it and do I would say, is a public-private partnership. We're doing now cooperative private partnerships, and we're having a project round right now in Tacna where we have 200 growers, and they're part of our value chain, and we put them into cooperatives. We're part of the cooperatives. We talk to the Ministry of Economy of how to do it. We save taxes. We make money out of that. It's good money, and at the same time, we're doing a social good. So I think this is a type of playing field that Peru has, which is the best in the world. If I were 25 years old, I would really work on this in Peru, not go anywhere else. You want to ask me?
And like one of the things that I really like about your work is that you are working projects and related to projects all over Latin America. It's not only Peru. So if you have to compare Peru in terms of welcoming conditions for investments in environmental development, where we are, who is more advanced, who is behind, where are we?
I think we're in the. I think we're in the middle of the ground. Um, there are certain things that are difficult from legal perspective. Um, with the tenancy, you don't own the. Some investors don't like. You don't own the land. You own the foresta. You own the top part. You own the part of the trees, but you don't own the land. So, but there are mechanisms, like trust funds or usufruct or 100-year leases all over the world. It's just that we need to put together, as we were trying to do with this project, and we still are, put together impact investors with the project developers, and the government be part of the solution in the sense of giving the right type of mechanisms or incentives so that these type of projects start moving and moving faster and have the impact that we're all asking for from the environmental point of view. So call it regenerative agriculture or landscape management or ecotourism. I think Peru has huge potential, and we're top of the world in resources. And I think you can find the right partners here. You'll find the right advice, legal. Of course, you have to find local people that moves you around, not only in Peru, but if you're going to go to Madre de Dios, the first thing I did is I sit down with someone who is good, good person, good professional, and ask for his advice, how to move around. So, yeah, I think Peru is right in the middle, and it's a good country to start doing these type of projects.
That is fantastic to hear. Like so there is some consolidation. Let's say we are in the middle, and there is plenty of space to grow. And I would like to connect that with the list of investment opportunities that you have shown us today, and that is, why we don't know more about these opportunities. What is happening in the market that like, and how many of these opportunities are out there in Peru, and what we can do to bring them up to the attention of investors.
Well, part of it is what we're doing here. You have the Peruvian Business Council as a springboard, and doing more of these things, I think, is important. You should keep on. I think a liaison with Prom Peru, which also has now their interest to work in bringing investment, not only promoting tourism or promoting our exports, but also bring investors. I think a liaison with Prom Peru should be sitting here right next to us and be part of the discussions. Yes, I think that's what you're doing here is great, and I think we need to do more of these type of meetings and promotions, and we have now these virtual ways to meet, and we're more accustomed after the pandemic. We should take a use of, and I definitely changed a lot of things that how I did my business before, doing it now with connecting with people. I'm a board member of a company in Australia. I'm part of the company with startups in health tech in Singapore. And after the pandemic, I went and met the founder of that fund, early stage. So we're starting to do things that we weren't doing. So I think there's, with AI, my last contract that I did with my buyer in selling our pomegranates for our smallholder farmers, I used ChatGPT to do like 5 versions of my contract, and he sent us a 50% check of the 10 container we're going to do as a trial this year, and it was perfect. So you're going to be on top of new things, open, and commit. I think it's networking a lot of it, and this is what you're doing.
Let's do more about this. Let's do more of this. There is a number that really got my attention in your first slides. Talks about the 2020 initiative and $2.4 billion in investment opportunity, in investment capacity for the region, for Latin America. Is that right? How I
Yes,
understood?
yes,
And
those funds represent that amount of committed capital to invest in Latin American environmental focused projects.
I see there is more or less 22 of these funds involved, and all of them, they seem to be specialized first and
Yes.
sophisticated. And in comparison with that, we have the reality in Peru. That is not only the reality for the environmental development; it's the reality in the whole spectrum of investments in general. Is that we lack a good final bankable projects, and in the acceleration initiative that we are trying to launch next month, we are considering a series of workshops that have been implemented already in Chile as part of the equivalent of the Prom Peru in Chile, Pro Chile. Is that right? Or
Yeah, okay.
yeah, and they have developed a series of workshops that start, that walk the developer through the whole process of development, starting, like with a due diligence, the preparation of the application, and in one single workshop, you graduate that workshop by having your final document. And I see that in the training program that you are considering, you have a similar structure. So how these methods, how these tools are helping to develop these initiatives, I know for years, because I've seen your. I remember in 2016 even visiting one of your meetings with developers, and you are working on that. So how these tools are changing and bringing new, more final bankable projects. How much of this we need to do?
I think that's all of it. I mean, the big problem is the investment readiness. And you need to, sometimes you need help, and that's why you have advisors. I've been advisor for several projects, and where we had, during the pandemic, we raised $5 million for a scallop farms out of one of these funds. If you look there, it's not called a green fund, it's a blue fund, but it's pretty much the same, sustainable development. And so sometimes it's easy for you to be an advisor, but then I put another hat, and I have my own project, and I needed help as well because you have when you're an entrepreneur, you don't have the vision of 360 degrees. You're focusing on your project. You're trying to raise capital. You're always with deficit. You're trying to test your new product. You're trying to create conditions for product market fit. You need to talk to your different stakeholders. So it's a lot of work. And so I think having advisors in investment readiness as boot camps or we in our project where I raised 5 million for in my own project, I'm raising a couple of 1.6 billion dollars with sustainable agriculture in Tacna. I used the help of an advisor that was paid by the to 10 companies like ours that had an impact in the Moquegua region by Anglo American. So I would have to spend at least $10,000 to $20,000 to bring somebody to look at my project and try to put it in terms that an investor will understand it, even me. So that's a way to do it.
Technology, Roberto. How technology is playing a factor in environmental development in Peru, and what else we can do?
Well, um, for instance, they're using in the ecotourism, they're doing a couple of projects with scientists. They've been doing it for decades, but basically they're using AI with the sound of the macaws to look at certain information. They have camera traps where they look at the different biodiversity moving around the tropicals areas. Yeah, they're using it. Not as much as they should, but they're starting to use it. Also, the tourism group, since they work with scientists right next door to the Tambopata region protected area, they created a citizen science type of project where you they find 4 or 5 times per year a new species through DNA sequencing of not a mammal but an insect. So you can be part of it if you're a tourist and you put your name on the species and all of that is so there are many things to create services and products that are of interest of people and you just need some innovation. Innovation not about technology. Technology is just a way to use it in a different way. I think innovation is more into the business model or the product per se, you know.
Mm. What about traceability and the use of IoTs?
There's a group here, Sigfox. They started, it's out of France, and they're a network all over, kind of open source for it's definitely for IoT, to send data, not pictures or not videos, which takes a lot of, this is not for, big volumes, but little volumes and little information about your crop, about the climate, the cost is coming down, and the entrepreneurs promoting this first with the utilities. There's a lot of savings there in water, energy from both sides. The distributor of energy, water, as well as the consumer, the household. And now he's going to enter into the agricultural system, way. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities there in IoT. And once you have the data and you have millions of data, then you can start doing something with the data that will bring you profits at the end with
I
machine
believe that.
learning and data scientists, right?
I believe that like sometimes, as you said, innovation. Sometimes the product is the innovation, and sometimes innovation is an old concept that we just put it now and improve it and adapt it to the times, to the new technologies, and we use it again. And people think that when we innovate, we have to create something new, like complicated, complex, technological, or that artificial intelligence is somebody that is going to come and slap you in the head. And people is scared of these things. And actually, we use already, as you know, data and artificial intelligence in our everyday life, and but we need more, I believe, of these initiatives like this French company in Peru, like at least 4 5 more that really help us bring up those advantages that data and artificial intelligence give us. It's a matter of efficiency sometimes, and perspective. We see things and computers see things from a different perspective, and they serve us, but we need to be able to apply these technologies to what we do now. But my concern, the last topic that I want to put on the table is, okay, so we have this interest in investing, which is $2.3 billion for the region. We have the need of new bankable projects, and as a matter of fact, we need a sort of national pipeline of projects that, a constant creation and improvement of project ideas, or moving from project ideas into bankable projects. And where is the demand? And we are talking. I've seen that you mentioned in your presentations a concentration in wood and forestry, projects, a number of forestry projects, and that is an example. But you have also mentioned smaller projects, and what is the demand for these type of products? We're talking greenfield, we're talking brownfield in terms of demand, or in terms of production? Are we becoming innovators in the product and looking to open a market, or there's a market for the products that
Right. To give you an example, we're all familiar with camu camu, right? Camu
yes.
camu is only in Peru. I think now we have some in Brazil, but camu camu, as we all know, is a fruit that has high concentrations of vitamin C, probably the highest in nature, if not the highest. Some entrepreneurs out of Japan have been bringing camu camu to Japan, and some others, scientists focus, are bringing it to Germany. Those are two places where they're taking camu camu. But you don't find still an entrepreneur looking at the problem. They just want to put it in frozen and ship it, or dry it and send it. There are many problems in the value line. On the value chain. One of them is when you process the camu camu, if you consume it in powder here in Lima or in Whole Foods in the States, most likely it has lost 99% of the absorption vitamin C. Why? Because they put in high temperature. And once you put in high temperature and dry it with the equipment, you lose 99% of the. So people are drinking this camu camu, and then I found an entrepreneur here who has a slow method of keeping 99% of the vitamins and everything that camu camu has, and he's fighting against 99 competitors who are doing it wrongly, and the products are good. So that's a big problem. But you need to have supporting systems, because you're going to have a lot of competitors who are doing the wrong problem, and you have the right way. But it's a long way, and the only guys doing it right are some couple of German guys or Japanese or someone in. But here in Peru, one guy finds how to do it, but there's no supporting system for this type of talent.
Mm.
Uh, and that's the type of talent that we need for real startups. At the end, startups is not for everyone. It's not for everybody coming out of economics of Universidad del Pacífico because he's a smart guy. Being entrepreneur is not being necessarily smart. There's many
Exactly.
ways to be smart. There are many ways to be smart, first of all. But you don't have to have top grades to be a lot of more dropouts. And you don't need, I mean, there are different ways of being smart. But having that discussion separate, what we need is to find talent and have leveled the field for talent from all parts of Peru. It doesn't matter if you were born in Puno, 3,900 meters above sea level, or you were born in San Isidro. But you have a talented kid there.
Mm,
And
yes.
that's what we need to do to change our countries and
Yeah.
our country.
I totally agree. We have discussed with Jorge Luis Ramos Felices, who is member of our board of directors, the possibility to partner with one of these trade education systems groups in Peru. I don't want to mention names, but it's only two or three, and to see how we can, like promote the the development of skills in tech that but the fact that you can do this at the local level is the change factor, because when you do this at the local level, you find that smart people that you are pointing out is entrepreneurs, people that is creating initiatives, is the people that is actually producing to export, for real, and they have a lot of information to teach us. We support them because we know all the other side of the equation, but as you said it, the local partner, not only when you come from other country to the capital, but when you from the capital to the provinces and to the departamentos. And I believe that that is the next revolution that Peru has to go through, is to move the whole country into the tech, the data and IE revolution, and to be able to do that, we have to train youngsters, young people, and entrepreneurs at the local level. That's
Yeah,
Roberto.
exactly.
Thank you so much. We made
No,
it to
you're welcome.
the last of these video conference. Let's make it viral. Let's repost it and make sure that everybody has access to it, and let's do this again. I'm gonna keep in contact with you to see how we can cooperate
Sure.
in other things, and I need to talk to you also. So first, thank you for being here today, and thank you for the amazing information you have presented. It shows us all that there is opportunities and not only limitations in environmental development in Peru, and we are doing things.
Great. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, and goodbye now for now.
Bye now.
Bye.